Hi everyone, today I'm going to be showing you how to crochet this simple beanie hat, available in two size options, child and adult. I've included the list of materials needed in the description below, as well as some other helpful links, including the written pattern. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so let's begin with our starting loop. So you're just going to wrap the yarn around your finger, cross it over itself, pull up a little bit of that bottom piece and push just some of the top bit through to make a loop, and go ahead and get that onto your hook. We're going to make our starting chain. All right, so for child size, chain 50. For adult size, we're going to chain 55. So just yarn over, pull through the hook. Yarn over, pull through your hook. All right, so you're going to keep on going, making your chain. And you can pause the video, work on your chain. When you get to your, when you finish it, come back and I'll show you what we're going to do next. Okay, so now that you've finished your starting chain, we are going to move on to our next step. So in the second chain from our hook, we're going to single crochet. Push your hook through that chain space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops on your hook. Okay, so we're going to go in the next chain and work another single crochet. And we're going to be doing this into every single chain space all the way down the row. You're just going to work one single crochet into every single chain all the way down your row. And your stitch count should be one less than your starting chain. So by the end of this row, you should have 49 single crochet stitches, and then come back. All right, so now that you've finished that row of single crochet stitches, you're going to chain one and turn your work. And now we're going to be working into the back loop only. So we're going to work, you're going to push your hook into the, over the top of your work into the back loop of your stitch. Yarn over, pull up a loop, and yarn over and pull through both loops. So same way that you just did all of your single crochets, the only difference is we're going into the back loop of our stitches only. So we're going to back loop single crochet into every single stitch all the way down, and you're going to do this for a total of 66 rows for a child size, 70 rows for an adult size. All right, so keep working your back loop single crochets. At the end of the row, at the end of each row, you're going to, when you get into that last stitch there, you're going to chain one, turn your work, and work another row of back loop single crochets. Keep on going till you get to the count depending on the size you're working on, and then come back. Okay, so now that you've finished all of those rows, we're going to fold our work in half, and we are going to work into both sides of our work here because we want to close the long edge of our work. So we're going to work slip stitches going through both sides together. So push your hook through that first stitch, pick up the other side, and go through the stitch lined up with it on the other edge. Basically, we want to work slip stitches all the way down, working through both sides so we can close up the seam of our hat. All right, so push your hook through both sides, yarn over, and pull right through the loops on your hook. And that's your slip stitch. So you're going to go ahead and keep on working slip stitches into every single stitch all the way down, being sure to work through both sides. Okay, so you're just going to keep on doing that to close up the seam, working one slip stitch into every single stitch all the way down, being sure to work through both sides lined up. Okay, so you can go ahead and pause the video, finish working your slip stitches all the way down, and when you get to the end of this row, come back and I will show you what we're going to do next. Okay, so now here we are at the end. You're just going to pull up a long tail end. Grab your scissors, fasten that off, and then just pull the rest of that little bit through. All right, go ahead and grab your yarn needle. So now we need to close up the top of our hat. So you're going to get your yarn needle, and then just working around the edge. It's not really working through stitches because we're working along what's technically the side of our work. But you could see your rows. So you're just going to work kind of evenly lining up with your rows there. Just weave your yarn needle in and out, in and out, in and out, all the way around. Because this way you're going to be able to pull that piece of yarn and it'll close the top of your hat. Like when you pull on it, it'll be like a drawstring. It's just going to pull the top of that hat closed. So just keep on going, weaving your yarn needle in and out all the way around until you get back to the start. And then come back and I will show you how we're going to close up the top of our hats. Okay, so here I am doing my last little weaving. And now you're just going to pull your piece of yarn. Be careful that it doesn't snap. It can be a little tricky. Just be gentle with it and pull it until you have the top of your hat closed. And then you're going to get your yarn needle, and with that same tail end still, you're going to go in and out across the opening to make sure that it's completely closed and secured. Because of course, if you were to leave it like this, it's just going to keep on opening up. So I just like to weave my yarn needle in and out a few times to make sure that I have the opening of the top of my hat completely closed and secured. Just going to go in and out a couple more times here. And you'll want to make sure that you do get like those little pooky bits, because that could still open up too. And when I'm weaving my tail ends in and out, especially when I'm working on an opening at the top of a hat, I like to also make sure that I do a knot at the end, just to really make sure it's secure. So got my opening. I think that's pretty secure. I feel confident that it's not going to open up. And so now I'm just going to do a knot as well. So I just push my yarn needle through a little bit there, and then your yarn's kind of in a loop. So just push your hook through, or your yarn needle through the middle of that loop and pull it, and it makes a knot. So that's just to keep it secure so that your stitches in and out there to close the opening stay closed. All right, there you go. And I'm just going to weave a little bit into the stitches on the inside of the hat. Don't forget that right now your hat's inside out. So you could weave in and out a little bit in the stitches there. Okay, and one more knot. And again, for this part, it's really just however you prefer. It's not like you have to follow exactly how I do mine, but just thought I would show it anyway in the video. Fasten that off. And then from the beginning of your work, you likely have a tail end there as well. So you could do the same thing. Just get your yarn needle, and you don't want to fasten that off right at the end, because then you're going to have that little piece of yarn looking like a loose piece of yarn sticking down. So just weave it in and out of some of the stitches up the seam there. And of course, I'm going to do a knot to make sure it stays secure. And then grab your scissors and you can fasten that right off. Again, your hat's inside out, so go ahead and flip it around now so it's the right way. And it's super long because we made extra height for a cuff, so you could just roll that up, and there you go. You're done your hat. I hope that you enjoyed this pattern. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out the links in the description below.